Good morning, everyone. It's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and it is a lovely half off Christmas or not Halloween, Valentine's Day candy eve. The only holiday that I celebrate. Half off Valentine's candy eve. Flash fan, good morning. I hope you're doing great. Eris, thank you for doing the Modly stuff. I did, if Baker does anything, as my mom always said, if your friends jump off a bridge, jump off after them. So I made a buy me a coffee so you can get shenanigans passes if you would like, but it's never required. You guys just showing up in the morning is super great support and encouragement. So it's just out there if you don't want to give YouTube monies. Anywho, ooh, 40 degrees. It's so weird how we're about at 39 and the Northeast coast is gonna get all the snow. Oh, well, possibly, but it would have been funnier if it was that last word. But our first story is a pastor doing something he ought not out of the rectory. Apparently method dealing is is bad. Okay, okay, it's bad. Methodist church pastor accused of dealing crystal method acting packages out of the rectory. The rectory is a place where pastors live. We keep them corralled. I don't know what the Methodist church does with them, but I know that as a former Catholic, I know we used to just keep them corralled in the rectory, which, again, could we think of any other word? Because that is so close to the other stuff. The jokes just write themselves. Good morning, Dennis Heaton and Cool Gamer and Squid Pro Quo and John and JKD Buck. A Methodist Connecticut pastor is accused of dealing all of the Methodness out of his church rectory, police said. Herbert Miller, 63, the Reverend of Woodbury United Methodist, you know, look, Sunday Sunday is prayer day, Saturday is party day. I kind of get it. Look, there's was arrested Friday after cops were tipped off about the clergyman's alleged side gig, which reminiscent of the plot of Breaking Bad. Good morning, Wolfram. The Walter White lookalike pastor was busted at the site of the purported dealing area set up by cooperating witness who had alerted the police. The local news outlet Republican American of Waterbury reported Miller was pulled over by state troopers in Woodbury and found to be in possession of, well, crystals. He was just trying to, commune with nature. Both in rock and liquid form in a hypodermic needle. I am learning all the things I had no idea, but I don't research that stuff quite fully, so not my bailiwick, if they as they say. According to a press release from the Connecticut State Police, Miller was allegedly slinging these non-legal street pharmaceuticals in exchange for watching same-sex couples engage in smexy time. Okay, sir, I'm not a Methodist, but I'm pretty sure those are some cardinal and venial sins right there. But I don't know how you do your church, so maybe y'all are cool with that. The Post could not independently confirm that allegation and reached out to state troopers seeking further comment. Oh, sir. Yeah. The first thing I think about your face is not loving servant of God. I'm thinking roadie with REO Speedwagon, but that's just me. There was no word on how long the 63-year-old cleric has allegedly been moonlighting as Walter White. The pastor was charged with possession of narcotics with intent to sell, possession of a controlled substance, use of drug paraphernalia, among other charges. He was released on $10,000 bail and ordered to appear at Waterbury Superior Court on February 23rd. That's it, y'all. If this is being live streamed, we are there. He was hired by Woodbury Methodist Church in July. By Monday, his name had been removed from the church's website. I guess they're not into that redemption thing just yet. Miller previously served as a pastor to First United Methodist Church in Shelton. So there you go. Probably don't look like Walter White, the stereotype, if you're going to do all the method distribution. Just I'm not giving you tips, but I don't know, guys. Good morning. Hey, Joe. Former wrestler William Billy Jack Haynes is in custody in his wife's death in Oregon. So I don't know if Vince McMahon did anything terrible to him, but he could possibly have an out if we find those text messages. Former professionally wrestler William Albert Billy Jack Haynes Jr. has been taken into custody in connection with the death of his wife in Portland, authorities say. Portland police say in a statement over the weekend that Haynes, 70, was in police custody at a local hospital undergoing treatment for, quote, a medical condition unrelated to the homicide or his contact with law enforcement. Police said charges would be announced when Haynes is booked into jail. Haynes was identified by the police as a suspect in the fatal shooting of Jeanette B. Craft, 85. Police say they responded Thursday to reports of a shooting in a Portland neighborhood and requested help from special teams, including crisis negotiators. KGW TV reported that Haynes was detained 2 hours after 2 hours of negotiations. Police found Beecraft dead inside the home. Police spokesperson on Monday did not answer questions about the case, including whether Haynes was released from the hospital, citing the ongoing investigation. It's not known whether Hayes had a lawyer who could speak on his behalf. Police said that the Beecraft family has asked for privacy. Haynes performed as Billy Jack Haynes during a career that included competing at the World Wrestling Federation, now known as the WWE. Not being involved in, he does look like he could be an Indianan, a Hoosier, if you will. Thank you, Christine Fortuna. I hope that you are having a wonderful day too. Uh, so yeah, look, maybe Vince McMahon touched him in a naughty place and it haunted him for years. I'm just saying I might use that as a defense. I don't know if Vince McMahon was even there, but let me see if I can find a recent picture. What is his name? Billy Jack? Oh, yeah, he does kinda look like he could be directly from oh, what in the mullet? Oh, no, you guys, we are watching this trial. Do you see this glorious hair coif here? Do you see the business in the front and the party in the back, and it's all shiny with the flamin' shirt and the picture of Jesus behind you? I mean, possibly. This man has been to my Walmart, I know it. This man was in my Walmart, I know he was probably buying chicken feet, I'm just saying, I know it, I knowed it. Oh, dear lord. In big giant controversy day, Brooklyn, um, Devil's Lettuce Dispensary sparks outrage for painting over a famous mural of the notorious B.I.G. Well, that was a big mistake. I wonder how the West Coast is going to respond. Uh, a cherished mural of late rap legend and Brooklyn native, the notorious B.I.G., was painted over in Bushwick after a Devil's Lettuce distribution center moved into the building, sparking outrage among proud Brooklynites. The owners of Emerald Cannabis Dispensaries said they were forced to cover the homage, a portrait of young Biggie Smalls, whose real name was Christopher Wallace, because the New York Office of Cannabis Management, OCM, said it violated their advertising regulations. We didn't want to take it down, Emerald Dispensary co founder Christina Di Giovanni told the Post about the mural, which depicted the Juicy rapper as a baby with the word Brooklyn in large block letters in the background. Di Giovanni said the mural had adorned the exterior wall of 85 Sundom Street for about 3 years before the dispensary moved into the space, which had previously been a church called House of Pray. Make it a church dispensary. That would be awesome. Come on. We'd all get spiritual. Spiritual. She said that they loved the tribute and wanted to keep it up. However, the OCM, which regulates the sale of the devil's lettuce legally in the Empire State, warned them that leaving the mural in place could jeopardize the store's opening when state inspectors came by for a visit. Quote, the state compliance officer said, if the inspector sees it and says no, you're going to have to delay your opening, DiGiovanni said. So apparently they done had to paint over it. So this was the mural beforehand. I mean, I get it, I don't know why. She was told OCM regulations prohibit any enticement in any store signage. The rules state that this includes outdoor signs that are affixed to a building or permanent structure and are for the purpose of alerting individuals to the location of a retail dispensary. Only the name of the business, the nature of the business, store hours, address, phone number are allowed to be displayed according to the regulations. Thank you, bureaucrats. We needed you so much. Thank you. You've saved us all. You really have. Having already navigated the state's labyrinthine dispensary licensing process since 2022, Giovanni and her co-founder Ray Raymond Roman, who is naming these children, made the heartbreaking decision to paint over the mural, which Giovanni insisted they did in removable anti-graffiti paint in hopes that they could one day display it again if OCM changes its policy. It was so hard, she said, of the red tape involving obtaining a license. Do you have a license for that store? We're becoming England. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was really unfortunate that we hadn't had the opportunity to get an honest start before getting backlash for something that wasn't our decision. Ahead of Emerald City's ribbon cutting Monday, Roman said their grand opening had already been sullied by backlash against covering up the mural, both in person and online. I've been living in the neighborhood all my life, 45 years, and I didn't want to do it. I was kind of scared doing it, Roman said. It hurts and it's so sad. People keep asking, why'd you do that? And we have to explain to them over and over. We've had a lot of backlash on Reddit. I don't even want to read it. Cynthia Beticanus, who lives in the neighborhood and would walk her dog past the mural, said that even vandals always left it alone despite targeting other street art. There was nothing wrong with it if it goes with it goes with the shop. It represents someone from Brooklyn, she told the Post. It was there for a long time and people have been respecting it. Mostly people haven't been respecting murals around here. They'll go and write something on someone else's art, but people hadn't put anything on this mural. Another local set, Kaylee Finns Putes, said it was sad. I really like the mural. I think it was lovely. Anytime art gets covered up is sad, she said. Najee McFarland Dreye blasted the OCM's regulations as idiotic. That is such a stupid law, he said. We should let businesses leave artwork on the wall. A post on the Brooklyn subreddit following the now covered up mural also drew dozens of scornful comments. How could you cover that up? F that dispensary, one user responded. Wow, they really aren't from around here, another wrote. DiGiovanni said they plan to work with OCM and eventually plan to restore the mural. Our next move is to work with regulators to try to change this, she said. DiGiovanni reached out to the artist Hotek, who said if the city's rules changes the rules, they'll bring him back to paint a new one. Only this time as an adult to avoid any backlash over problematic juxtaposition of an image of a child's face on the outside of a store that sells the gummy stuff. We don't want children and cannabis in the same place, she said. Hotek could not be immediately reached. OCM did not respond to the post's request for comment. Well, there you inside it looks like what in the dumpster fire hysteria Stanley Kubrick is that freaking wallpaper. Yeah, I would feel definitely unsafe going to this store, but New York seems generally unsafe to me, so the award-winning rapper came up through the streets of Bed-Stuy, ascending the throne as one of the most influential hip-hop artists of the 1990s and is widely regarded as one of the greatest rappers of all time. His lyrics contain frequent references to both his native Brooklyn and his penchant for cannabis. Well, and that's special. He was a key figure in decades long infamous East Coast West Coast hip hop feud. 6 months after fellow rapper icon Tupac Shakur uh, ran away and went to the islands, or was he resurrected in Florida? I don't remember. Anyways, was, unalived in Las Vegas. Wallace was murdered in a drive-by unaliving in Los Angeles on March 9th, 1997 at the age of 24. In 2009, a corner of St. James Place and Fulton Street was dubbed Christopher Wallace Way in his honor following the controversial years-long effort by local activists. A 38 foot mural of Wallace at 1093 Bedford Avenue features the hypnotized rapper wearing a gold crown and gold chain and was unveiled by artists Nafule Rocco Adole and Scott Zimmerman in 2015. It still remains a popular tourist draw. So I guess if you would like to go and see uh, all of the Biggie monuments that still live, go to Brooklyn, maybe in the daylight. I don't know. Whales are back. We did it, women, men, children. We saved them. Can Greenpeace go away and stop being insufferable? Back from the brink, the migratory species on the road to recovery. While a landmark new report on the world's threatened migratory species is a catalog in decline and destruction, a handful of animals are staging a comeback, shows improvement is possible if humans change their way. Look, how about the government get out of it and, stop regulating it to death? And then we can, oh, I don't know, get stuff done with the free market. Fry, did you steal a piece of gum, you dingus? You are being actively a dumpster puppy today. It was really Star Trek 87. What the hell are we doing with whales? From the majestic humpback whale launching into the air from the waves, or thousands of snub-nosed Sangaya antelope fanning across the steppes of Central Asia, these sights would have barely been possible without concerted conservation efforts that help these species rebuild population. The State of the World's Migratory Species Assessment, published Monday, found that animals, fish, birds, and reptiles listed for protection under the UN Convention of Conservation and Migratory Species of Wild Animals, we're seeing a decline in this across the world. Around 70. Look, we'll be. Stop putting the government in charge of things. The government cocks everything up. Just maybe let people who know what they're doing, if they happen to know and aren't crazy, do their stuff. Humpback whales. For hundreds of years, whalers from across the planet hunted humpback whales for their oil, meat, and baleen, their feeding filtration system. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, they were targeted by early hunters in their wintering area near the West Indies and Cape Verde, and then near their summer feeding grounds from the 1860s, especially off Iceland and Norway. In the Pacific, they were hunted particularly by Japanese whalers. But by 1986, the IUNC had listed the species as globally endangered. International restrictions on commercial whaling allowed the humpback whale population to rebound, and today there are more than 80,000 mature individuals that navigate through the ocean's water. No, no, stop, you dingus. It's not your no, it's not your keyboard. He's like, "I love you. Thank you, Shizzy, for sending your people here. Would you stop?" Fry, you are being a total dumpster puppy today. I don't know what's gotten into you. We're going on a walk. While some subpopulations have recovered more than 90% of their pre whaling numbers, the CMS report said other small groupings like humpback whales in the Arabian Sea are endangered. Well, everyone's endangered in the Arabian Sea. So there you go. But humpback whales are making a comeback. I don't know what a vicuna is, but it's a llama-like creature that roams the wild parts of Argentina, Bolivia, Ecuador, Chile, and Peru, and one of the few undomesticated animals sought for its wool. Illegal poaching brought them to the brink of extinction, but now the numbers are increasing thanks to local protections from hunting. So there you go. Whales are coming back. Sometimes, activism works if you're not insufferable. Oh, yeah, I've seen I have seen the exploding whales. Thank you, Sarah Adams. Well, I'm keep hoping that the aliens will come up and realize that even though we kind of resemble the bad Walmart that no one goes across town to go to unless it's, impossible to go to the other one, that maybe they'll help us and gentrify. I keep hoping that ET will show up at some point. Rock, paper, or scissors. U.S. striker wins pre-penalty contest before the scoring in English league game. So apparently, when you are playing the foosball with your feet, not the foosball with your hands in America, you get to play paper, rock, scissors for who gets to take a penalty. I had no idea. I might have been more interested in soccer had I known. Before outwitting the goalkeeper, United States striker Haji Wright tricked his own teammate. Wright, who plays for Coventry City in England, England's second tier championship, took part in an impromptu on field game of rock, paper, scissors with teammate Callum O'Hare to determine who took the penalty in the team's match against Millwall. Wright won it and converted the spot kick by sending the goalkeeper the wrong way, setting Coventry on course for a 2-1 victory on Sunday. 2-1. You watched an hour and a half of people running up and down the pitch, and you got 2 goals out of it. Well, 3. The 25-year-old Wright went on to say he went for rock, adding with a smile, "I had a little delay on my throw." The pre-penalty showdown did not go well with Coventry manager Mark Robbins. "I'm going to kill them," Robbins said jokingly, before he said he preferred to be a more scientific way for his players to decide who takes the penalty kick. Well, so there you go. I mean, it's better than like a chest bump or arm wrestling. In in where are we going with this? In one-way tickets to Snake Island, we have this next story because, oh my gosh, how could he possibly be found guilty? Man who claimed that his baby's mother, quote, what am I doing here? No. Stabbed herself 14 times in front of 5 kids is sentenced to life for her unaliving. Hmm. It's almost like no one believed you, sir. I don't know how your story let's see how your story played out. A 31-year-old man in Georgia will spend the remainder of his days behind bars for unaliving the mother of his infant daughter, fatally stabbing the victim 14 times in front of 5 young children and claiming her wounds were self-inflicted. What a dingleberry on the butt of humanity. Superior Court Judge Layla H. Zahn on Friday ordered Gregory Deontay Norwood to serve a life sentence in the state correctional facility without a chance of parole, plus an additional 100 years for the brutal 2022 slaying of Crystal Powell, authorities announced. According to a news release from Whatton County District Attorney's Office, it took a jury less than 1 hour of deliberating to find Norwood guilty on 2 counts of federal or felony murder, 1 count each of malice murder, aggravated assault, family violence battery, as well as 5 counts of first-degree cruelty to children. Powell was a teacher in the Newton County school system, her obituary stated. Authorities said that on the evening of that 1 month, April 16th, 2022, Norwood went to Powell's home in Monroe, Georgia, which is about 44 miles east of Atlanta. At Powell's home that evening were her 4 children, one of whom was an infant she shared with Norwood, and 2 very young cousins. Aside from the infant, the children ranged in age from 3 to 11 years old. After Norwood arrived at the home, he and Powell got into an argument that ended with him stabulating Powell 14 times just outside her front door. Prosecutors said that 5 children witnessed the unaliving and saw Crystal's body in front of the house. What an ass. Like, sir, no. And then you're like, "Well, she did it herself." It happened, what happened was she was walking down the stairs. She was walking down the stairs and no, it's a Sailor Moon, let's see if I can zoom in. It's just a Sailor Moon puzzle I did that I so Mr. Mo is supposed to be working on, um, my office next, so I've got things that I'm supposed to, keep alive until he gets a safe place. The 11-year-old daughter called 911 after Norwood fled the scene with his infant daughter. You have gone straight up to dill hole, sir. Officers in the city of Monroe Police Department responded to the residence and led the investigation into finding Norwood. Investigators located him a short while later in Newton County and took him into custody. Quote, he had blood on his shoes, which was later shown to be a DNA match for the victim, prosecutors said of Norwood in a release. In an interview with the police, Norwood said that Crystal had somehow managed to stab herself 14 times. Well, yeah, she fell down the stairs while running with scissors. Are you kidding me, sir? At trial, the state presented evidence of prior domestic violence by the defendant against the victim. Prosecutors said the medical examiner who performed the autopsy testified that the death was caused by obviously puncture wounds and the injuries were not consistent with being self-inflicted. The 5 children also bravely testified. Norwood testified in his own defense. Oh, please. We have to see this. I am going to have to do a video about this man testifying. Let me write that down. I need to see if that was ever streamed anywhere because this seems like it might be a job for Judge Mo. But yeah, he testified in his own defense, sticking with the story that he saw Powell repeatedly unalive herself. The actual hell, dude. The defendant attempted to blame the death on Crystal, claiming she done did it herself. The release states, the jury clearly did not buy the defendant's self-serving version of events that did not match any evidence presented. Prior to Norwood being formally sentenced to life, several of Powell's family members read a victim's impact statement, including several of the children speaking out about how the murder affected them. While this verdict cannot bring Crystal back, I hope it brings some level of closure and sense of justice to her family and friends. I want to thank those who came to the court in support of Crystal and her family, as well as those supporting them that couldn't come. This verdict, after such a heart-wrenching trial, is the result of so much hard work by many, said District Attorney Randy McGlinty in a statement. So I just can't with people anymore. Uh, Look, why must all the YouTubers that get attention be absolute dumbasses? YouTuber busted after posting a video of himself allegedly going 150 miles down a highway on a motorcycle, weaving in between cars. Look, y'all, we have basic rules for criminating, okay? You don't write down your crime. You don't, confess to your crime. And you don't videotape your damn crime. I could be wrong about this, but this is about dumb. A YouTuber busted or A YouTuber said he likes to quote unquote go fast on his motorcycle, sped straight into jail after he allegedly zoomed 150 miles per hour down a Colorado highway and posted a video of his joyride. You absolute dingleberry. The Colorado State Patrol issued an arrest warrant for 32-year-old Rendon Dietzman of Texas for a slew of charges, including menacing, reckless endangerment, speeding 40 or more miles over the speed limit. Dietzman runs a YouTube channel called uh, Gitzer. Look, I don't know if there's a freaking dumbass bro way to say this, but something bra, where he posts videos of himself riding motorcycles. He has over 250,000 subscribers and has posted nearly 50 videos. On September 8th, Dietzman sped down Interstate 25 between Colorado Springs and the Metro Denver area, upwards of 150 miles per hour. While that route usually takes an hour, Dietzman allegedly did it in 20 minutes. The video he posted to YouTube has since been taken down, but troopers released a clip of Dietzman allegedly weaving in and out of traffic. At several points during the video, Dietzman zooms in on the speedometer, showing how fast he's going. Illegally and recklessly driving, um, and that type of behavior will not be tolerated in Colorado, Sergeant Troy Kessler with the Colorado State Patrol's Public Affairs Office said in a press release, "We care too much for those traveling in our roadways to ignore the blatant disregard for safety of others." The video of the Colorado joyride went viral, but cops received several tips that led to his arrest at his home in Dallas. YouTube told Fox News Digital it took down the video because its policies prohibit harmful or dangerous acts that have a serious risk of bodily harm or unaliving. Unfortunately, this YouTuber's driving behavior is not unusual or out of the ordinary. Mr. Dietzman has posted multiple videos from different parts of the country on his channel exhibiting similar driving actions, Colorado troopers said. He was arrested on February 7th and taken to Denton County Jail in Texas. He's awaiting extradition back to Colorado when he will receive a court date. Yes, maybe don't film yourself while you're going a gajillion miles. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so don't listen to me. Uh, it's not a cult, I promise. Andrew Keegan addresses rumors that he runs a cult. Quote, "It's like a badge of honor." Well, so Sarah, he is right now waiting in a Texas jail. They're going to send his behind up to Colorado, and then I guess Colorado gets to do all of the lawyering, courty stuff. Okay, so apparently the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You is running a cult or something? Actor Andrew Keegan has finally addressed rumors that he started a cult. Appearing on iHeartRadio's Pod Meets World podcast Monday, the 10 Things I Hate About You star said he became immersed in the culture and community of Venice Beach after moving to California in his 20s. There was this interesting group of hippie types, if you will, in Venice, Keegan, 45, told host Danielle Fishel and writer Strong and Will Friedle. Look, all the people from Boy Meets World except for the main dude. I'm sure if you went on the West Side, there's definitely a lot of spirituality. I was connected with some folks and we had this opportunity. There was an old Hare Krishna temple just sitting there empty. And we were like, yo, why don't we just get some people together and let's open this place up? Keegan and his pals went on to open a quote, spiritual community center, end quote, in 2014, which they called Full Circle. I just need to know if there's nudity in this cult. Looking back, it was insane. I was putting tens of thousands of dollars down, but we opened it up and spent 3 years and really did build an amazing friend group, he shared. We went through something really significant from 2014 and 2000 to 2017. Yes, it's called peyote. It's called peyote and tripping your ever living boobs off, is my guess. The Seventh Heaven alum opened the center at was said the opening center was his way to quote do something positive for the community. Just months after Full Circle's doors opened, rumor of cult-like activity began to swirl, which were only heightened by a Vice article titled "One of the stars of 10 Things I Hate About You Started a Religion." Well, there's a lot of hugging. I don't know if I can ever join this church. Look, if there's a lot of hugging, I'm out. Like, I'll high five you. I'll do a long distance high five, but I look back at it now and I'm like, I don't know anybody else who's being called a cult leader, so it's kind of a badge of honor, Keegan quipped, about adding that Full Circle was the opposite of what you could imagine. We just They just really created a very interesting, colorful story and put it together. All this flowery language tells me that you are lying and it's a cult where everyone has to hug each other. We did almost 1,000 events in 3 years, and it was actually really hard. It was great. It was really beneficial to a lot of people. I still hear about it now. There are people like, "That was such a great time." Again, tripping balls on peyote is not spiritual. Quote, "There was no doctrine," Keegan continued. "We were just people getting together. The co-creator's handbook was the handbook we used. For all intents and purposes, it was really a cool community center for a bunch of people in Venice for a few years." Full Circle's community center permanently shut its doors in 2017. I mean, no. To be fair, if I started a cult, it would only be for tax purposes. Uh, Look, this is how I'm going to die, y'all. This is what's going to happen. I'm lucky to be alive after sustaining, quote, "car crash injuries," end quote, tripping over my cat. This is going to be my obituary. He suffered catastrophic injuries. Okay, I'll give you that one, New York Post. I'll give that one. A UK man miraculously survived after sustaining a broken neck, fractured spine, smashed ribs, blood in his lungs, and other car crash invoking injuries from, wait for it, tripping over his cat. Quote, "I can't remember much, just falling fast. It was quick and over within seconds. Then I was at the bottom." The victim, Chris Raleigh, 59, told the Mirror. "That cat's going in for charges." The freak apocalypse meow. Okay, you win that one too, but only once, right? Meow. Don't make me say it again. Accident reportedly occurred on the evening of October 23rd while the uh, Leicestershire based professional musician was home alone with his hairless Sphinx kitten, Eric Morkabe. Look, you got a hairless cat. It's pissed off at you already. Did you put a sweater on it? Did you dress that cat up? Because that's why he tripped you. I can tell you right now. Disaster struck after the wrinkly kitty, apparently feeling playful, dove out and latched onto one of his owner's legs while he was coming down the stairs. "It took a bit of a chunk out of my leg, then I lost my footing," described Rowley, who reportedly tumbled down 14 steps before arriving at the bottom, where he lay unable to move when his feline put the hell in Hello Kitty. Giblets. The massively injured man didn't realize the extent of his injuries at the time. However, paramedics revealed he had suffered a fractured skull, a broken bone in the neck, two fractures in the spine, nine broken ribs. Each rib had multiple fractures. "And then I had a bit of blood in my lungs," he said. Eric Morkambe, meanwhile, is completely unharmed and planning to do it again. Unfortunately, Rowley's wife Jackie, a children's care worker, was working nights and therefore unable to come to his aid, the Mirror reported. As a result, the Brit had to lie unattended for a whopping 14 hours in a pool of his own blood. "My phone was dead. I couldn't get up. I couldn't physically get up. Raleigh described it was the hardest sensation, almost like claustrophobia. You can't get out. You can't physically get anywhere or do anything. You know that cat is sitting on his chest just looking at him like, "I'll do it again. Get me the kibble that I really like." It wasn't until the next morning that the immobile vocalist's wife arrived and discovered her husband's spread eagle at the bottom of the stairs. Normally, I get home about 8:30, but that day I got held back and didn't make it until about 10. I opened the door and heard him screaming and saw blood, she told the Mirror. He was saying, "Oh, you're home. Help, help." By this time, he dragged himself to the landing. Jackie then dialed emergency services, who arrived within minutes. Read 2.5 hours. I have heard about the UK ambulance waits. Whereupon she quickly left the room as she couldn't stand her partner screaming. Wow. Your wife was like, "Dude, I love you, but you are complaining a whole lot. Not even going to hold your hand." Sir, I'm telling you, the wife and the cat might not be as loyal as you think. I think the wife taught the cat what to do. Allegedly. We didn't know how bad his injuries were at this time. They had to really drug him up to move him, Raleigh's distraught paramour lamented. The unfortunate tale fellow added, "I can't explain the pain. I realized I'd cut my head as well. I didn't know how much I'd cut until I saw the blood. Later on, they told me about the other injuries I had. If as if that wasn't agonizing enough, his oblivious pet started stamping on his chest. I win. This cat was like, "Do, do, do, need the bread, need the bread, need the bread. Not gonna help you with anything." A dog might have gotten the phone for you, or at least licked your face. The cat's like, "Well, now you're immobile. You're a bed now." Telling you, cats are hardcore. Sociopaths. A move he reportedly had been doing all night, said Rowley. Medics transported the injured cat owner to the trauma unit where he remained for 2 weeks, per the Mirror. He's far from out of the woods. They said it will be 6 to 12 months until I'm back on my feet. I'm on trial now because of the seizure. It won't be great for another 12 months, I'd have thought, lamented the musician who currently can't breathe without oxygen. We had to go back to the hospital next week to see if they can put a drain in to get rid of the blood that's left over. Then it's a matter of long-term recovery. The issues have been more than just physical. Rowley reported he lost a lot of income on account of not being able to tour due to his condition. A family friend has since started a GoFundMe. Hopefully, they did not put the picture of the cat up. Despite his debilitating condition, Raleigh doesn't harbor any ill will towards his kitty. The cat's adorable, and he's only young. I don't take any umbrage to that. It's just one of them things. It could have happened anyways. I mean, to be fair, I generally could fall down the stairs on my own. So while I would blame the cats, because so Loki and Bender are orangish and our carpet is sort of beige. They like to sit on the stairs and just lay and puddle out. So, the cats have been plotting at the annual cat meeting of how to unalive us daggone humans. They just oh, no, I fall up the stairs too. Uh, we keep having this conversation of how old is too old. Well, apparently this judge says, "If Ruth Bader Ginsburg could do it, Imma stay on." Quote, "Unprecedented in American judicial history, oldest federal judge vows to continue to fight to be reinstated on the bench after fellow judges have suspended her for overwhelming evidence of decreased mental capability." Huh. I wonder if Judge Schroeder did one of these things. Schrader. A 96-year-old federal appellate court judge whose coworkers say has habitually been confused, belligerent, scored a partial win in court Monday against the panel of fellow judges she sued after being suspended. That suspension was upheld Wednesday, and the judge is still not permitted to retake the bench. Ronald Reagan appointee, U.S. Circuit Court Pauline Newman is the oldest judge on the the federal judiciary. Newman served nearly 4 decades in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit until she was suspended in September by the Committee on Judicial Conduct and Disability for refusing to cooperate with an investigation into her mental capacity. Newman's mental health and fitness to serve was called into question after colleagues complained that her docket dragged woefully behind an inappropriate timeline, raising concerns about the judge's inappropriate behavior. Ultimately, the investigation was conducted at the behest of the council, and investigators found overwhelming evidence of Newman's memory loss, lack of comprehension, and confusion. So the judge was often, quote, frustrated, agitated, belligerent, and hostile towards court staff. Welcome, Phoenix Fire. Thank you for becoming a member. Well, and hey Joe, she is a federal appellate court judge. So as a federal judge, I don't believe any of the federal proceedings are ever recorded, which I think is wrong. But I don't think any of her court filings would be actually listed, but I could be very wrong. I will check that out though. Okay, where is it? They provided numerous examples of Newman's problematic behavior, ranging from threatening to have her own staff arrested to incoherent paranoid ramblings. Oh my God. I think after look, you're 96. Ma'am, go home and crochet or do something fun. Nude bowling. I mean, whatever you choose to do, let your freak flag fly. You are 96. You don't have to be a judge, but you can give no Fs and you can tell everyone exactly what you feel about them. You're 96. What are people going to do? The committee directed Newman to undergo a 30 to 45-minute interview with a neurologist and have a full neurophysiological examination with hours of cognitive testing, but the judge refused. Newman also refused to provide the committee with medical records from prior 2 years dealing with cognitive deficiencies and fatigue. Instead, Newman offered her own medical experts who said she would be examined for a much shorter period of time. The committee responded with a suspension after Newman was informed that she could no longer be assigned new case over which to provide. Lawyers filed a federal lawsuit on her behalf in which Newman sued the Chief Circuit Judge Kimberly A. Moore and all other federal circuit judges on the committee over their handling of the complaints about Newman's mental capacity. In the lawsuit, Newman challenged not only the actions taken against her, but the legal provisions that allowed the Judicial Committee to suspend the order. Newman was represented in the lawsuit by the New Civil Liberties Alliance, the NCLA, a public interest law firm that focuses on the administrative state. You want a crazy senile person running the state? Sounds great. Why don't we just let her? She is going to be one of those people that instead of hitting the gas brake, she goes straight into the Aldi store, trying to get bread and park. But sure, let's get her in charge of people's lives and money. Great idea. The same firm also represented Newman in a direct challenge of the committee's ruling under her suspension, which is proceeding separately. U.S. District Judge Christopher R. Cooper, a Barack Obama appointee, denied Newman's request for a preliminary injunction against Moore and the others Monday, but allowed portions of the judge's lawsuit to move forward against her colleagues. Newman's win, however, is likely to be short-lived, as Cooper found that her claims were not likely to succeed on the merit once litigation continues. Cooper ruled that some of Newman's claims were moot because they challenged a preliminary suspension that was later lifted. Cooper left in place some of Newman's challenges to the judicial discipline regulations, but warned it would be a demanding standard to score an ultimate win. The judge also allowed Newman's claim for failure to provide notice for what constitutes a mental disability to proceed. Cooper rejected Newman's argument that the Judicial Council lacked the authority to suspend the judge for disability, as well as it's not a disability. You're just old. I love that you're a fighter, ma'am, and I'm sure you were full of spit and vinegar in your youth, but you are confused and you are yelling at us like angry grandpa potato now, and we're kinda done with it, and we would like you to just sit. Maybe they could just tell her that she's not retired and not give her any, uh, money. No, I'm not Jamie today, Flux. I like this one because it comes with its own headband. So I basically have a headband already on there, and I just put a different headband on, but it's nice, and my hair was being all the crazy this morning, so I did not wanna deal with it. In an email to Law and Crime, Newman's lawyer, Greg Dolan, said, quote, "We are gratified that Judge Cooper did not dismiss the entirety of the action. We will proceed on the claims that remain alive." Dolan said Newman's legal team is still evaluating its options for appeal of the dismissed claims. Newman suffered a total loss at the hands of the Committee Wednesday when a new panel of judges found that Newman's suspension should be upheld. In her challenge, Newman argued that members of the Judicial Committee who knew her personally should have recused themselves from considering her case. She said that because all the members of the committee had personal knowledge about the facts or were simply biased, they could have should have transferred the case to another circuit court. Both arguments fell flat with the council that reconsidered the ruling, which dismissed the argument as unavailing. The panel of judges who heard Newman's challenge to her suspension consisted primarily of Clinton appointees. So there you go. The committee also found Newman had not been denied any due process in proceedings against her. The judge noted that even though Newman is not legally entitled to see witness statements, the judge had actually given more process than she was due under the rule because she was shown all the evidence against her. Likewise, the committee rejected Newman's argument that there was no good cause to ask her to submit to a medical examination. Quote, Newman may suffer from a disability that prevents her from discharging the duties of the office, including affidavits, her own emails instructing interactions that suggest memory loss, confusion, loss of comprehension, paranoia, anger, hostility, severe agitation, and inability to perform tasks that Judge Newman previously could perform with ease, the committee said in its 29-page ruling. Ouch. In a statement, she got Bidened bad. In a statement Wednesday, Newman's legal team slammed the judge's indefinite suspension as unprecedented in American judicial history. Well, yeah, so is having a fossil on the judiciary. But, we don't keep the crypt keeper around because they're entertaining. Well, they are entertaining, but they're not also in charge of our freaking judiciary. She's in charge of people's lives. The answer is no. I'm sorry. I don't trust you to drive, ma'am. I don't trust you to judge rate. I don't. Now, if you would like to tell us about the old days and go full on Judge Strader with a fireside chat about the good old days, I would love to hear from you and absorb the wisdom that you still have. But I don't want you to side people's lives. The end of story. In our final story, I just love it when a prosecutor comes drunk to a scene of a crime. Prosecutor showed up drunk to crime scene, told cops, quote, discretion was allowed, claimed DUI arrest would damage her relationship with her office, police. A 54-year-old prosecutor in Vermont found herself on the wrong side of the law after she showed up to a scene of suspicious death drunk, then suggested that the police exercise their quote unquote discretion and not place her under arrest. Addison County State Attorney Ava Vekos was taken into custody last month and charged with one count of driving under the influence, refusal of sobriety test. The dance of sobriety is great. I love it. Um, I don't know if you guys like cop videos, but there is a new person. I will try to find the link and give it to one of the mods, but they're from where Baker's from, and his name is Radical the Knight. Anyways, he's hilarious, and it's very funny. It's almost like Baker was doing police of body videos. It's freaking hilarious. If you're having a bad day, I will try to find, uh, the link and put it in, my description or bring it up tonight because 'cause I'll probably remember, maybe. According to a news release from Vermont State Police, troopers with the Vermont State Police on the night of Thursday, January 24th were, quote, processing a potential crime scene, end quote, at a residence located on Swindon Road in Bridport as a part of an ongoing investigation and decide to call Vecos. The residence is about 40 miles south of Burlington, Vermont. Ah, they're in Styx's neck of the woods. The troopers were at the home of Stephen Nicolo Sr. after an autopsy report determined that circumstances of his death were suspicious, the Addison County Independent reported. Vekos responded to the scene, driving herself there at 8:50 p.m., the release states. Shortly after she arrived, officers at the scene said they detected the odor of intoxicants emanating from the prosecutor and observed indicators that of impairments such as slurred speech. Vekos refused to undergo a standardized field sobriety test where you try to walk and hold your leg out. Uh, Therefore, she was placed under arrest for DUI refusal, the release states. Troopers transported Vekos to the state police barracks in New Haven, Vermont, where she was processed and later released on a citation to appear for arraignment. Authorities also noted while at the barracks, Vekos, quote, refused to cooperate with being fingerprinted and photographed. Court documents obtained by V.T. Digger provided additional details about the allegations against Vekos. According to the report, two officers at around 9 p.m. approached Vekos, who had returned to her car and was sitting in the driver's seat, and asked her if she consumed any alcohol, and if so, how much. She replied that she'd had a single gin and tonic with a burger she ate for dinner. That was a mega pint of gin and tonic. One of the troopers then asked Vekos to take a field sobriety test, which she allegedly did not want to take. Quote, "Are you serious, Ryan? Can't you just have a friend come and get me?" She reportedly said to the trooper. When she was told she would not be allowed to phone a friend, the troopers again asked her if she'd like to take a sobriety test. Can I ask the audience? When she was told, oh, it doesn't matter if I do the test or not. However I perform, you're going to take me under arrest, she reportedly told the troopers. Ma'am, you was drunk. Once back at the barracks, Velkos allegedly still smelled of alcohol and indicated that the authorities were not obligated to place her under arrest. While speaking with Vekos, I detected a moderate odor of intoxicants emanating from her. Her eyes were watery, and she mumbled her speech at times, another officer wrote. Vekos then asked me if I knew that discretion was allowed. I informed her that we as a department do not take discretion with DUI. That's when authorities say Vekos indicated her arrest would have a negative impact on the relations between the state police and the state attorney's office. Quote, she then started going to damage the relationship with her office, which she has worked hard to build with law enforcement. Because the arresting officer doesn't know how to apply discretion and he didn't go to his supervisors, the affidavit said. I told her I was not going to argue with her about it and that the discussion was for another day. Thank you for hanging out with us. Yes, she is a prosecutor, Gigi, and have a great time. Vekos's attorney, David Slay, told The Independent that there was no evidence of his client driving erratically or committing a crime. Ma'am, you drove there intoxicated. That is a crime. The fact that you didn't plow into a group of children is a blessing because generally you DUI idiots end up hurting other people and not yourself. I thought you would know this as a prosecutor, but I'm beginning to find out that people that are prosecutors apparently don't take time to learn about the law, which is you'd think needed for that job, but no. It is a crime to refuse a reasonable request for the evidentiary breath alcohol test if you have a prior DUI conviction. If you do not have a prior DUI or DWI conviction, the Vermont Supreme Court has made it abundantly clear that operators have a choice whether to submit to sampling or not, he reportedly told the newspaper. There is nothing criminal about refusing to take a test. There are potential sanctions, such as a license suspension if a judge finds that the officer request for the test was reasonable. In order to support that, they have to show that they had some articulable suspicion. You smelled like booze. You were slurring your word and your eyes were all glassed out. You are done. In order to supported by facts, Ava had violated the drunk driving statute. Vacos is scheduled to appear for her arraignment on Monday afternoon in Middlebury Superior Court. Maybe they have that. So Middlebury, and then that is in Vermont. Maybe I can pull that because that would be hilarious. Yeah, she has probably no mercy and throws people in jail for the exact things she did, but now she's over here like, "Look, I am a judge and we could just all this could go away. I only drove a little bit drunk. People are driving me nuts. Let's all think happy thoughts. The whales are coming back and the little antelope deer thingies in Peru." So, Slinky, I'm gonna look into that and see if there is. I'm gonna see if her, hearing was also streamed. I've got a couple ones that I'm looking up, especially the Norwood, now that he testified that she done stabulated herself. Pretty sure that's some footage Judge Mo could, take take care of. I think we all know where both people will be going, which is Snake Island, which is getting an addition, Scorpion, archipelago, and, well, Spider Peninsula. It's growing because we got a lot of people. But that is all for today. I am grateful that I found Valentine's Day stuff, and thanks to MG Law, I'm pretty sure that he mathed the amount of suckers that I needed for the boys, so I don't have to go out and buy another package. Let's all pray that our Valentine's candy is half off tomorrow and it is a good day. Have a wonderful day. I am sending you over to Baker, so that is what's going to be happening today. Have a lovely, lovely day, and I will see you in a little bit. I'm gonna go look up these 2 cases and see if they've got some streamy streams that we can look at too. Bye, guys.